Charge up the AC and it's ice cold inside. Definitely gotta get rid of that gunk right there. So we're gonna begin the process. We're gonna put a new clutch. I took the battery tray out so that we can have access to this. The reason why I got such a great deal is because it needs a clutch. And of course, anything about a Juke that I found out is you cannot drop the transmission down like a conventional clutch swap or upgrade because of the K-frame or K-member. It does not fit through, so you need to just separate and make room for it to work in there. So that's what we're doing. Get access to the top, put it up in the air, and get her done. Finally, some wrench time, man. We're gonna change the clutch. We got brand new clutch over there, that box. Stage 4, just so that it will last a little longer. I believe this thing killed it because it has a towing package. So, we're gonna change the clutch. So the transmission, I tried taking it out without taking this axle off, passenger side. But I was looking at it and you can see that it's torn anyway, so we're gonna have to pull this one out. I mean, I just wanted to loosen the tranny, pull it off, do what I gotta do, and get her done. But that came, even though it's been laying down there, but it's on the top side, which you gotta look at it through here. It's torn, so we're gonna end up taking off the passenger side axle. So we're removing the ABS sensor, loosening it up, loosening up the brake line so that it stretches a little bit more. And we're steering rack here. Loosen that up and pop it out. Take off the strut bolts and get this sucker out so that tranny can just pop out on its own. And these are the type that you need to actually remove the whole K-member, or yeah, well, that's how they show it. So, but a couple of guys do it where they just place the transmission on top of the K-member right there, but on the opposite side, of course, the driver's side, and they do the work, bolt everything back up. One guy actually did it without removing this axle. That was going to be my attempt, but looks like it's torn anyway, so we're going to pull it out and replace it as well. So let's keep going. All right, so we got it separated. And remember, this K-member here, you got to drop it down in order to do this job, but we're going to do it just like this. We got enough space. We just lay it on there. See, it's resting on there. We're going to make 2 spacers, one here, one on the opposite side out of this wood, 2x4. While I remove this on bolt the new one back on, remove the spacers of wood that I'm gonna do. We tried a strap, but I'd rather be safe and just put 2 holders here, spacers that are gonna rest outside, so that we can, I can remove this and replace, and that looks aftermarket, so it has been changed, and there is no clutch left. If you look in there, or I will, It's almost nothing there. I'm sure it's on the rivets. Look at that. Oh yeah, she gone. All right, let's get her done. That's the clutch it had. It's on the rivets. It is an aftermarket, and it is definitely burnt. So we are going to swap it over to another aftermarket and go from there. Alright, so this is the outcome of clutch that was in the Juke. As you can see, it has a high side all in the center, all the way around, and this is the flat side. Took us a while because it was throwing me off. But see, they didn't put the springs to the clutch side. They put the springs to the inside the flywheel. This is your flywheel. It's nice and smooth. You see this? That's the groove that's in the pressure plate, which is in the clutch. So whoever did this put it in backwards. So we had to watch, and I was a little confused, but I looked at some of the competition clutches kits that I have, and it shows, and it's been a while, right? So you need a refresher course. Spring, I don't do this every day, but in the spring, or the lip side, this lip goes into the flywheel. Why? Because of the distance for the shaft of the transmission. See? We put it the way it was in this Juke. Look at the distance now. Look at how far it needs to go in there. Look at how far it needs to travel in there. So, this was just like that. With the lip. So remember, flat side, flywheel. That's what we learned. Flat side, flywheel. And the spline, for the splines to not travel too far. So that tells me that this transmission was actually running at halfway of the splines because of the way it was set in here. It shifts fine, it was just slipping. So this is the way it goes. Flat side, flywheel, springs or lip into the clutch pressure plate, like so. So we're also changing the throttle bearing. This is the old one, 2 bolts. Comes out of the transmission through there. There it is. New one. 2 10 mils, one there, one on top, and it goes through. That's it. Now let's get ready to bolt on this clutch. And just like that, the transmission is back on there. So we are going to tighten up the bolts that you see right there in that middle right there of the frame. We're going to go all the way around and start putting everything back together so we can go rip it up. Go do some driving. Give it a little wash. It's been sitting for a couple of days, and let's see what this Nismo 6-speed's all about. So here we are back trying to. Transmission is on. The new clutch. Stage 4. Looks pretty cool. Let's see what it does when we're done. Yeah, just for reliability and longevity. We're not racing this Juke or anything. We're not going to upgrade much. It's going to become like a little daily driver. Just a cool little ride, something different. So, we're going to replace, well, bolt up our motor mount. It's a 2-piece, so I'm going to do the transmission piece on first, and then that right there comes through once I bolt it onto the frame here. And we made them together, and we should be a-okay. Should be good. So that's what we're doing. And then of course your axle. And they weren't kidding, man. The most difficult part about this is that starter bolt. That starter bolt in there, man. We look it up on YouTube. Everybody talks about that starter bolt. The bottom bolt is not a big deal because you can actually see it. But that top bolt right there. That bolt right there. In the center of the frame. That one. And then we bleed it. That'll be the last thing we do. So we're gonna bring up the motor mounts, hook them up, do the cables. Cables are right here, shifter cables. They look good still. They have their grommets, so no need for anything else there. Put them back in there to there, and the other one that comes up all the way to this side. So let's get it going and get this sucker on the road. So to make the transmission to the two-piece transmission mount, has this piece in the center. So it makes it easier to bolt on the bottom piece first. Tranny's still hanging down. So now you have those two bolts on the side. That bolt right there in the center of the screen. And there's one in the front over here. Right there, right underneath it. So, with the transmission hanging, you put those two bolts, these two here. Of course, you bolt on the transmission knot first. Two bolts on the bottom, underneath this lip. One there, one over here. And the two on the rail here. One there, 16 mil. Give it a couple of uggas. And the next thing is raise up the tranny, floor jack. These go into place, and it's good to go. A few pumps, and it comes all the way through. Now you put all your nuts. Center. There we go. Where are my other nuts at? Oh, they're over there. Place these other two. Couple of uggas. Good to go. All right, so the other clutch that we got was junk for the Juke. It was some no-name brand clutch that I wanted to try out. I'm not against trying out some eBay clutches because I have, and they do what they take the abuse. They're inexpensive. So I tried to do that for the Juke, and it didn't pan out for me. So I ended up ordering an Exetti for Juke, new brand. clutch, and what got me on the Juke is that the hub has been unsprung. The hub goes to the hub goes inward to the flywheel for this application, for the Juke. It goes towards the flywheel. So when I called the seller and I asked for some information, I was told that this hub that you see here, see it, it's above. He said put it towards the flywheel, which would be your transmission side. But on this application to a Juke, this hub that rises above the clutch surface goes into the flywheel, and the flat surface goes to the pressure plate. And this is the part number. Here is the throwout bearing, slave bearing, whatever you want to call it. The information I got from the seller and what I've seen, we put the hub towards the transmission, which falls on the flywheel side. On the pressure plate side, and it crushed this. Literally crushed it because it hits. So on an Exetti, which do come indicated to which side the clutch plate goes, it indicates transmission side, that TM, and it is the flat side, and the hub goes into your flywheel. So the information or the directions I got from a non-indicated was to put it this way. So the minute I pressed that clutch, I crushed it. I had to break it. I had to break it to get it off of the transmission, which I thought I had ruined my trans. So there you go. I learned something new. I love eBay stuff because it keeps your car running. But you know, 2013 and up, I'm assuming newer cars, they have different applications. So do your homework. Hopefully it helps somebody out. I even sent it to the seller that sells these, and I did bring out the point that it does not indicate on your wherever that clutch was made. You know, looks a lot nicer than this, but come on, you can never go wrong with an Exetti. So I think I'm just gonna stick to it. It's this and the competition clutches that I buy. So as indicated right there, tells you exactly which direction it goes. Hopes it helps somebody out. Now we let this rain go away in Texas, and we're gonna put this little puppy back together and get it on the road. Part number to the release bearing, and part number of the clutch disc, and the pressure plates in here. The kit number is that right there.